My name is Jerome Famous Amos. I am the editor of Chicago Steppin Guide magazine. And you're in the stepping zone.
Stepping is an original African-American dance. In the February 2012 issue of Ebony magazine, there was an article on stepping. The article is entitled, "Stepping, a little dance with a big appeal that puts a new spin on ballroom." Stepping is usually spelled without the G on the end. We have some special guests today that have been in the stepping community for many years. DJ King George of clubsteppin.com, an internet radio station that's been on the air for over 7 years. KP, a stepping instructor at the Montfort Marine Association on 7011 South Vincennes in Chicago. And DJ Famous Amos, publisher and executive editor of the Chicago Steppin Guide online and the Chicago Steppin Guide. Welcome to In the Kitchen. Now we will ask the panel a few questions. Hey, what is Chicago style stepping?
Chicago style stepping is an urban dance that has a flair about it, a unique flair that brings on a certain attitude with the ones that's doing it. You know, it has its unique points as far as dress.
King George.
I'm inclined to say simply because, hey, we're on television today. It's not only just a dance, it's a lifestyle. It's a community of folks that's grown from the city to nationally, even internationally, because I've got people that listen to our stepping station in Norway and Spain and Egypt. So it's a lifestyle that's it started out small, but right now it's starting to encompass the entire world.
Hey, Famous Amos, you have anything to add?
I would just say Chicago style stepping is, Chicago has its own unique style. They do it everywhere. They step everywhere across the country and probably out of the country. But Chicago has its own flair about it, and which makes it a little different than, say, stepping in L.A. or New York or some of those places. That's the difference. The 6 or the 8 count which they have in stepping, they may do all over, but Chicago has its own unique style because it originated here, I guess, you know.
Okay. What other types of stepping are there, like in other parts of the country?
In Detroit, there's ballroom and hand dancing. From the cities I've visited, kind of like the majority of them promote their sets as Chicago style stepping. Although, like Jerome said, it's a different flair. It's not and don't want to offend nobody. It's not the same flair, coolness, or smoothness that is in Chicago stepping, because I see it. But if you go somewhere and it's smooth and it's the flair, you can bet that whoever throwing the set is somebody from Chicago.
Yeah.
KP?
Also, Chicago still have freestyle stepping, you know, which is more, I'm not going to say animated, but more, not as a pattern, it's more of a freestyle. And steppers of today combine the new stepping techniques with the freestyle old school techniques as well.
Yeah. I agree. Chicago just has its own. When you originate something, you do it differently than someone else that's somewhat imitating it. You know, but because they have instructors, and which is a good thing that instructors came into the game so that everybody can basically do the same type of thing. You know, it's not foreign when you go somewhere and you know, everybody can, like you said, either on by him being an instructor, he can tell you they're on a 6 count or an 8 count, and so that brings it in, brings everybody in. But by being from Chicago, you've seen it coming up, and you've seen hundreds of times, you know, as opposed to people from other places. So it gives its own distinctive thing here.
Okay. How did Steppin evolve, King George?
Me and Jerome was talking about that as we were sitting in the studio, and also with KP, and it's like we all agreed that from years ago, from the Lindy Bop to bopping to two-step to walk, jitterbug, it's constantly evolving. Even, you know, not to go off the thing, but like from line dancing, from the Madison to the bus stop to the wobble now. It's just each generation, each decade adds a little bit to it. But I think we all tend to agree maybe it started 20s or 30s.
The 30s, I believe, like with that jitterbug. And then about around the 60s, it came into the bop.
Okay.
And then maybe the late 70s, early 80s, around in that time, that's when it got to be stepping.
Okay. Who was credited with coining the term stepping?
I think Sam.
We had to say Sam Chapman.
Originally, I had a guy that was dancing on the west side. We was on the west side of a place called Jazzville. This boy named was Johnny Draper. Johnny Draper was a dancing fool. And he would break away from his partner, and you know how you come back to it, and it looked like he was stepping.
Right.
Now, at that particular point, we wasn't using the phrase stepping.
Right.
And I kept saying, Draper is a stepping fool or something,
Right.
da. And next thing I know, without consciously,
Right.
I start hanging posters saying, we're stepping into so-and-so. We're
Right.
stepping down. Herb Kent, even in his biography, would say the first time you ever heard the word stepping was something that I brought to him when he was working in WVOA.
It's going to be people that disagree with us, but I would say that Sam put it out there, and he kept it out there when disco was in and when we were getting away from the slower music and what they call R&B now, we called soul back in the days. They was getting away from that, and Sam kept it with stepping. So you got to kind of, Jerome did extensive interview with him in his magazine about how he coined it, and I interviewed him on the radio, and we talked about it too. So until somebody can really show me some documented proof that he didn't coin it, I got to go with Sam.
And he do have one little famous phrase that I like that he always say.
Yes.
And it's, go to work, steppers.
Yeah.
Go to work.
Yeah, that's international.
Yeah, that
But
is.
I did the interview with him, and he told me, you know, in years past, we would say, when we saw somebody dance, we would say, oh, he's stepping. But it wasn't in the same frame as the dance stepping. We were just using the word, say, oh, he's stepping, you know. And it caught on with Sam. And he said it was, he didn't purposely do it, but he was using it, and before he knew it, it had caught on, and it just, you know how some things happen that way. You don't know the day that it started, but it was just people started saying it, and so he started calling his sets stepping sets. And I think that's basically how it caught on.
Okay.
But you got a lot of people out here that were throwing sets and that begin to throw sets, and they start calling their sets stepping sets. You know.